Let's be honest with each other for a second. Just you and me. Look at where you are. Look at the date. The year is turning over, the calendar is flipping a page, and the world is preparing to celebrate a new beginning. But are you dragging the same old chains, the same old excuses, and the same heavy regret into 2026? Stop lying to yourself. You promised yourself that this year was going to be different. You said you'd get in shape. You said you'd start that business. You said you'd fix your relationships. You said you'd find peace. But here we are. The clock didn't stop for you. The world didn't pause to let you catch your breath. It kept spinning, indifferent to your potential, indifferent to your pain. And now you're standing on the precipice of another year, terrified that 2026 is going to look exactly like the last 5 years of your life, a blur of mediocrity, unfinished projects, and silent desperation. You need to wake up. I'm not here to give you a pat on the back. I'm not here to tell you that you're perfect just the way you are. That is the lie that has kept you weak. I am here to tell you the brutal truth, that the world is too polite to whisper in your ear. No one is coming to save you. No one is coming to knock on your door, drag you out of bed, and hand you the life you dream of. There is no lifeboat. There is no hero. There is only you and the reflection in the mirror that you've been avoiding for way too long. If you want to become unstoppable in 2026, you have to stop waiting for permission. You have to stop waiting for a sign. You have to stop waiting until you feel like doing the work. Because let me tell you something about feelings. Feelings are liars. Feelings are traitors. Your feelings will tell you to hit snooze. Your feelings will tell you it's too cold. It's too hard. You're too tired. You've done enough. If you listen to your feelings, you will die a failure to become unstoppable. You have to learn the darkest, most powerful art in the world. You have to learn how to force yourself. Sounds harsh, doesn't it? Force. We live in a soft world that tells us to be gentle with ourselves, to practice self-care, to take a break. And sure, rest is necessary, but most of you aren't resting from war. You're resting from laziness. You're taking breaks from a race you haven't even started running yet. The people you admire, the icons, the legends, the ones who seem to have limitless energy, do you think they wake up every single day excited to grind? Do you think they are possessed by some magical spirit of motivation that you don't have? No, they have simply mastered the ability to detach their actions from their emotions. They do what is required, not what is desired. They have built a mindset that overrides the weak voice in their head. You have that same voice. We all do. It's that voice that whispers at 5 a.m. Just 5 more minutes. It's that voice that says, you can skip the gym today. You worked hard yesterday. It's that voice that says, start on Monday. That voice is the enemy. It is the architect of your destruction. And the only way to beat it is to strangle it with action. You have to declare war on your own comfort. 2026 is not going to be given to you. It has to be taken. And the only way to take it is to enter the dungeon of your own mind and fix the wiring. You see, most people are running on faulty software. They have a victim mentality. They look at the economy, they look at their boss, they look at their childhood, and they say, this is why I'm stuck. Listen to me closely. Excuses are the nails used to build a house of failure. You might have had a rough start. You might have been beaten down. Maybe you lost money. Maybe you lost people. I'm not diminishing your pain, but I am telling you that your pain is not a parking spot. It is a fuel source. You have to take that trauma, take that rejection, take that anger, and burn it in the furnace of your ambition. There is a version of you that is capable of things you haven't even dared to imagine. A version of you that walks into a room and commands respect without saying a word. A version of you that is physically dominant, mentally unshakable, and spiritually grounded. But that version of you is trapped, buried under layers of fear, doubt, and cheap dopamine. You're addicted to distraction. That's the modern plague. You scroll, you click, you watch other people living their lives while yours rots away. You trade your attention for nothing. To become unstoppable, you must reclaim your focus. You have to go deep. You have to learn to sit in a room alone with your work and not move until the job is done. This is what separates the amateurs from the masters. The ability to concentrate, to lock in, to shut out the noise of the world, and produce something of value. Think about the next 6 months. Just 6 months. What would happen if you truly disappeared? What would happen if you ghosted your distractions? What would happen if, starting January 1st, no, starting right now, you decided that you would commit to a protocol of absolute discipline? Imagine it. You wake up before the sun, not because you have to, but because you want to beat the world to the punch. You move your body until your lungs burn, reminding yourself that you are alive, that you are a machine built for movement, not for sitting. You feed your mind with wisdom, not garbage. You attack your work with a ferocity that scares people. You say no to the things that don't serve your vision. No is a complete sentence. No is the shield of the unstoppable. No, I can't go out tonight. No, I can't eat that. No, I won't participate in that gossip. No, I will not lower my standards to make you feel comfortable. When you start living like this, when you start forcing yourself to hold the line, people will get uncomfortable. They will say you've changed. They will say you're obsessed. They will tell you to slow down, to relax, to be realistic. Do not listen to them. Small minds cannot comprehend big spirits. They want you to stay in the bucket with them. They want you to be average because your excellence shines a light on their mediocrity. Let them talk. Let them doubt. You don't have time for their opinions because you are too busy building your empire. But let's go deeper. It's not just about working hard. A donkey works hard. This is about working with a terrifying level of self-awareness. It's about looking in that accountability mirror, the one David Goggins talks about, and telling yourself the truth. What are your weaknesses? Don't hide from them. Expose them. Are you lazy? Are you arrogant? Are you insecure? Are you bad with money? Do you talk too much and do too little? Put it on paper. Stare at it. The unstoppable man or woman does not pretend they are perfect. They identify the cracks in their armor and they weld them shut with discipline. Discipline, that word gets thrown around so much it's lost its meaning. But true discipline is not a punishment. It is a liberation. Discipline is the only thing that will set you free. If you are undisciplined, you are a slave. You are a slave to your moods, a slave to your passions, a slave to the weather, a slave to a plate of food, a slave to the opinion of a stranger on the internet. Is that freedom? Doing whatever you feel like doing in the moment? No, that is bondage. Real freedom comes from the ability to give yourself a command and follow it. I will do this, and it gets done. No negotiation, no debate. This is how you build self-trust. And self-trust is the foundation of becoming unstoppable. You don't trust yourself right now because you've lied to yourself 1,000 times. You said you'd wake up, and you didn't. You said you'd save, and you spent. You said you'd hold your tongue, and you snapped. Every time you break a promise to yourself, you chip away at your soul. You weaken your own authority. So how do you fix it? You start small, but you start rigid. You set a standard that is non-negotiable. Maybe it's making your bed. Maybe it's reading 10 pages. Maybe it's doing 100 push-ups. It doesn't matter what it is. What matters is that you do it no matter what. Even if the house is burning down, you do your push-ups. You retrain your brain to understand that when you speak, reality shifts. And as you build this momentum, as you stack these days of discipline, something shifts in your chemistry. You stop looking for motivation outside of yourself. You become the generator. You become the storm. But be warned, the path to becoming unstoppable is lonely. It is a path of solitude. You will have to walk through the valley of the shadow of death alone. You will have to face your demons without a cheerleading squad. There will be nights where you question everything. There will be mornings where your body screams in protest. There will be moments where you feel like you are breaking good. You need to break. You need to break the shell of who you used to be so that the person you are meant to be can emerge. You are carrying around dead weight, old identities, old stories, old limitations. You have to let that old version of you die. You have to hold a funeral for the lazy, procrastinating, fearful person you were in 2025. Bury them, and from those ashes you rise. This isn't about New Year's resolutions. Those are for tourists. This is about a lifestyle revolution. This is about stoicism in the face of chaos. The Stoics taught that we cannot control what happens to us, but we have absolute power over how we respond. In 2026, life will hit you, guaranteed. You will face heartbreak. You will face failure. You will face unfairness. The unstoppable person does not pray for an easy life. They pray for a strong back. They don't ask, why is this happening to me? They ask, what is this trying to teach me? They turn every obstacle into the way. You lost your job? Good. Now you have the time to build the career you actually wanted. You got injured? Good. Now you can focus on your mind and your spirit while you heal. You got rejected? Good. It means you were aiming for something above your current station, and now you know where you need to improve. See the shift? Nothing can stop a mind that can convert poison into medicine. You have to become mentally unshakable. You have to build an inner fortress that no external event can breach. When the world is panicking, you are calm. When everyone else is losing their heads, you are sharpening your sword. This is what Denzel talks about, protecting your peace. It's not just a nice idea, it is a tactical necessity. If you let the world trigger you, if you let the news cycle control your blood pressure, you have already lost. You need to guard your mind like it is the most valuable real estate on earth, because it is. And you need to understand the concept of recalibration. You're going to drift. You're human. You're going to have a bad day. You're going to miss a mark. The amateur uses that as an excuse to quit for the whole month. Oh, I ruined my diet today. Might as well eat junk for the next week. That is the logic of a loser. The unstoppable leader recalibrates immediately. You fall off the wagon at 10 a.m. You are back on it at 10 a.m., 1 a.m. You don't wait for Monday. You don't wait for the next clean slate. You force the correction. You grab the steering wheel of your life and you jerk it back onto the road. I want you to think about the word unstoppable. Really think about it. It doesn't mean you don't slow down. It doesn't mean you don't hurt. It means you do not stop. It means that if you can't run, you walk. If you can't walk, you crawl. If you can't crawl, you drag yourself by your fingernails, inch by bloody inch, towards your vision. Because the alternative is staying where you are, and where you are is not good enough. You know it. I know it. The universe knows it. You are sitting on a gold mine of potential. You have gifts inside you that are suffocating because you were too afraid to let them out. You were worried about what people will think. Who cares? Those people aren't going to be there when you're taking your last breath. They aren't going to stand by your bedside and say, congratulations on playing it safe. Regret is the heaviest burden you will ever carry. Jim Rohn said it best. We must all suffer from one of two pains, the pain of discipline or the pain of regret. The difference is discipline weighs ounces, while regret weighs tons. Do you want to carry tons of regret into your old age? Do you want to look back at 2026 and realize it was just another year where you almost made it, where you kind of tried? Or do you want to look back and say, that was the year I killed the old me. That was the year I stopped negotiating with my weakness. That was the year I became a force of nature. The choice is yours, but you have to make it now, not tomorrow. Now, you have to embrace the concept of deep work. We live in a shallow world. People are skimming the surface of life. They have shallow relationships, shallow thought, shallow focus. If you want to win, you have to dive deep. You have to go where the pressure is high, where the oxygen is scarce, because that is where the treasures are found. It requires isolation. It requires turning off the phone. It requires saying goodbye to the endless dopamine loop. It hurts at first. Your brain will scream for stimulation. It will beg for a distraction. But you must hold the line. You must force yourself to stare at the blank page, to stare at the difficult problem, to stay on the treadmill until you break through the resistance. On the other side of that resistance is flow, that state where time dissolves, where you and the task become one, where you are operating at your highest human capacity. You can't hack your way into flow. You can't buy a pill for it. You have to pay the entrance fee, and the fee is struggle. The first 30 minutes of any hard task are going to suck. Accept it. Embrace the suck. That is the barrier designed to keep the mediocre out. If it were easy, everyone would be unstoppable. If it were easy, everyone would be rich, fit, and wise. It is the difficulty that gives it value. So when you feel that resistance, when you feel that desire to quit, smile. Smile because you have arrived at the gate. Smile because you know that most people turn back right here. But you are just getting started. You need to build a routine that scares you. If your daily to-do list looks manageable, you aren't aiming high enough. You need to stretch yourself. You need to put yourself in situations where you are forced to sink or swim. David Goggins talks about callousing your mind. You callous your hands by lifting heavy weights, by doing manual labor. You callous your mind by doing things you hate, by having difficult conversations, by studying when you're tired, by running in the rain. Every time you choose the hard path over the easy path, you are adding a layer of armor to your mind, and eventually you become bulletproof. You walk through life with a swagger, not of arrogance, but of earned confidence. You know what you have survived. You know what you are capable of enduring. And let me tell you about fear. Fear is going to try to ride shotgun with you in 2026. Fear of failure, fear of success, fear of being seen, fear of being alone. Fear is a biological signal. It is your body preparing you for action. But most people misinterpret the signal. They feel fear and they think it means stop. The unstoppable person feels fear and understands it means go. Everything you want is on the other side of fear. That conversation you're dreading, that's the doorway. That risk you're afraid to take, that's the path. You have to force yourself to walk into the fire, and you have to stop looking for balance. Balance is a myth for people who are content with being average. You think the greats were balanced? You think Churchill was balanced when he was defending Britain? You think Kobe was balanced when he was in the gym at 4 a.m.? There are seasons for balance, and there are seasons for obsession. If you want to change your life in 2026, you need a season of obsession. You need to be obsessed with your growth, obsessed with your craft, obsessed with your mission. Be unapologetic about it. I am busy becoming the best version of myself. That is your mantra. You will fall. Let's get that straight. You will mess up. You will have days where you feel like a fraud. This is part of the process. The difference is the unstoppable person falls forward. They don't lay on the ground feeling sorry for themselves. They get up, they dust off, they learn the lesson, and they keep moving. Resilience is not about never getting hit. It's about how fast you recover. It's about having a short memory for failure. You missed a shot? Next play. You lost a deal? Next call. You failed the test? Study harder. Keep moving. Momentum is your best friend. Stagnation is death. And you have to watch your circle. Show me your friends, and I'll show you your future. If you are surrounded by people who are comfortable, people who complain, people who have no ambition, you will suffocate. You need to be around people who are running faster than you, people who challenge you, people who make you feel like you aren't doing enough. If you are the smartest person in the room, you are in the wrong room. 2026 is an open canvas. It is a clean slate, but it won't paint itself. You have to pick up the brush, and you have to paint with bold strokes. You have to paint with blood, sweat, and tears. Don't you dare waste another year. Don't you dare settle for a life that is less than what you deserve. You were created for greatness. It is in your DNA. But potential means nothing without execution. Potential is just a fancy word for you haven't done it yet. So how do you force yourself? You make a contract with yourself, signed in your own blood. I will not negotiate with my weakness. I will not tolerate mediocrity. I will not give up. You have to get to a point where the pain of staying the same is greater than the pain of change. Are you there yet? Are you sick and tired of being sick and tired? Good. Hold on to that anger. Use it. It's time to stop dreaming and start doing. Dreams are free. Hustle is sold separately. As we stand here, looking into the future, I want you to visualize the 2027 version of you. Imagine looking back at this year. Imagine the pride you will feel if you actually stick to the plan. Imagine the body you will have, the bank account, the peace of mind. It is all available to you, but you have to pay the price. And the price is everything you have to give. Because the price of admission to the top 1% is the willingness to leave the 99% behind. And that is the hardest pill to swallow. You want the glory, you want the result, but are you willing to endure the isolation? When you start forcing yourself to level up, you are going to look around and realize that you are walking a path that very few people can follow. The air gets thin up there. The noise of the crowd fades away, and all you are left with is the sound of your own breathing and the beating of your own heart. This is where the deep work comes in. We touched on it, but you need to understand this on a cellular level. The modern world is an assault on your potential. It is an algorithm designed to fracture your attention, to scatter your energy, to keep you addicted to the shallow, the trivial, the meaningless. Most people are walking around in a zombie state, reacting to notifications, reacting to emails, reacting to other people's emergencies. They are not living, they are responding. To be unstoppable in 2026, you must become a master of the no. You must build walls around your focus. You have to treat your time like it is the only currency that matters, because it is. You can make more money, you can't make more time. Every time you say yes to something that doesn't align with your mission, you are robbing your future self. You are stealing from your own legacy. You need to cultivate the ability to go dark, to disappear into your craft. Whether you are building a business, sculpting your body, or rewriting your mind, you need periods of absolute uninterrupted intensity. This is what Cal Newport calls deep work. It is the ability to master hard things quickly. It is the superpower of the 21st century. While everyone else is skimming the surface, you are diving to the bottom of the ocean where the real value lies. It's going to be boring. Let me tell you that up front. We are addicted to the highlight reel. But success is found in the cutting room floor. It is found in the mundane. It is found in doing the same boring things over and over and over again until you can't get them wrong. The amateur gets bored and looks for a new shiny object. The master falls in love with the boredom. The master understands that repetition is the mother of skill. You think Denzel Washington just walks on screen and magic happens? You think Kobe Bryant just walked onto the court and hit the game winner? No. That is thousands of hours in the dark. That is thousands of reps when no one was watching. That is the unglamorous, sweaty, painful reality of greatness. You have to force yourself to fall in love with the grind, not the prize. If you only love the trophy, you will quit when the game gets hard. But if you love the game, if you love the struggle, you become dangerous. And in 2026, you are gonna need to be dangerous, because the world is not getting easier. It is getting faster, more competitive, more ruthless. The safety nets are disappearing. The old rules don't apply. You cannot rely on a job to save you. You cannot rely on the system to take care of you. You have to build your own economy. You have to become so good that they can't ignore you. This requires a growth mindset on steroids. You have to look at your brain not as a fixed vessel, but as a muscle that can be torn down and rebuilt stronger. You have to become a learning machine. If you aren't reading, if you aren't studying, if you aren't upgrading your skills every single day, you are dying. You are obsolete. The unstoppable man or woman is a student of life. They are humble enough to know they don't know everything, but arrogant enough to believe they can learn anything. But let's talk about the emotional side of this war. Because it is a war for your soul. You are going to face betrayal. You are going to face people who you thought were in your corner, who will turn on you the moment you start to shine. It's human nature. Your success holds a mirror up to their failure, and they will hate you for it. They will call you lucky. They will try to sabotage you. This is where you need the armor of the Stoics. You need to read Marcus Aurelius. You need to read Seneca. You need to understand that you cannot control the actions of others. You can only control your reaction. If you let their jealousy poison your spirit, they win. If you stop to throw stones at every dog that barks, you will never reach your destination. You have to develop an unbreakable frame. Imagine your mind is a fortress. The events of the world, the insults, the setbacks, the bad luck, they are just arrows hitting the stone walls. They cannot hurt you unless you lower the drawbridge and let them in. You have to learn to look at a bad situation and say, good. Jocko Willink says it best. Good. You didn't get the promotion? Good. Time to build your own company? The relationship ended? Good. Time to focus on yourself? You failed? Good. You learned what doesn't work. When you adopt this mindset, you become terrifying to your enemies. How do you defeat a man who gains strength from every blow? How do you stop a woman who uses every obstacle as a stepping stone? You can't. That is the definition of unstoppable. But you have to force yourself to think this way. It is not natural. Our natural instinct is to complain, to play the victim, to seek sympathy. Oh, why is this happening to me? Kill that voice, strangling it. Nobody cares about your problems. They are glad you have them. Show them your results, not your wounds. And you need to understand that this journey is spiritual. I don't care what you believe in, but you have to believe in something bigger than yourself. Denzel Washington talks about putting your slippers under the bed, so you have to get on your knees in the morning to find them. You need that humility. You need to understand that you are a vessel. When you are serving a higher purpose, when you are doing this for your family, for your children, for the legacy of your last name, you find a reserve of energy that doesn't exist when you are just doing it for money. Money is a weak fuel. It burns out fast. But purpose burns forever. In 2026, you need to find your why, and it has to be a why that makes you cry. It has to be a why that wakes you up in the middle of the night. Maybe it's proving them wrong. Maybe it's breaking a generational curse. Maybe it's ensuring that your children never have to struggle the way you did. Whatever it is, lock onto it, write it down, look at it every single day. Because when you are at mile 20 of the marathon, when your legs are giving out, when your lungs are burning, your why is the only thing that will carry you across the finish line. And you have to stop being afraid of the shadow work. David Goggins talks about going into the dungeon. We all have a dark side. We all have anger, regret, shame. Society tells you to hide it, to suppress it. I say use it. Take that anger and put it into the weights. Take that regret and put it into the business plan. There is a nuclear reactor of energy inside your dark emotions if you learn how to harness it. Don't let it consume you, but don't ignore it either. Let it drive you. Let it be the chip on your shoulder that refuses to be knocked off. You have to force yourself to be uncomfortable. Comfort is the killer of dreams. If you are comfortable, you are not growing. You should be constantly putting yourself in rooms where you are the dumbest person. You should be constantly taking on projects that you aren't sure you can handle. You should be constantly pushing your physical limits. The moment you think I can't, you must trigger a response that says I must. You have to rewrite your self-identity. You act according to who you think you are. If you think you are a lazy person who is trying to be productive, you will fail. You have to change the core self-evaluation. You have to look in the mirror and say, I am a disciplined machine. I am a closer. I am a warrior. You have to brainwash yourself before the world brainwashes you. Think about the next 12 months. 2026. This could be the year that changes your entire bloodline. Or it could be another year of Netflix and chill. The choice is happening in every single micro moment. It's happening when you reach for the phone. It's happening when you choose the salad or the burger. It's happening when you decide to speak up or stay silent. You need to build a system of non-negotiables. I do not miss workouts. I do not sleep in. I do not gossip. I do not quit. When you set these rules, you remove decision fatigue. You don't have to decide if you're going to the gym. The decision was made years ago. You just execute. You become an automaton of excellence. And listen to me, you are going to fall. You are going to have days where you feel like a total fraud, where the imposter syndrome is screaming so loud you can't hear yourself think. That is normal. That is a sign that you are expanding. If you aren't doubting yourself, you aren't aiming high enough. But the key is to not let the doubt stop the action. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is action in the presence of fear. You force yourself to take the step, even when your hands are shaking, especially when your hands are shaking. You need to act as if you are already the person you want to be. Walk like them, talk like them, make decisions like them. Eventually, the reality catches up to the behavior. This isn't fake it till you make it. This is practice it until you become it. And you need to protect your circle. I cannot stress this enough. If you are hanging out with chickens, you will never soar with eagles. You need to audit your friends. You need to audit your media. You need to audit your environment. If it doesn't energize you, it is draining you. Cut the cord. It's better to walk alone in the right direction than to follow the herd off a cliff. 2026 is waiting. It is a blank check, but you have to sign it with your sweat. You have to understand the concept of the dash. You know, on a tombstone, there is the date you were born and the date you die. And in the middle, there is a little dash. That dash is your whole life. That dash is everything you ever did, everyone you ever loved, every battle you ever won. Right now, you are in the middle of your dash. What does it look like? Is it a straight line of safety and mediocrity? Or is it a jagged line of peaks and valleys, of risks taken and lessons learned? Don't let your dash be empty. Don't let your dash be a monument to what could have been. Force yourself to fill that dash with color, with fire, with life. You are running out of time. We all are. We live like we have forever, but we don't. Memento mori. Remember, you will die. This isn't morbid. It's the greatest motivator in the world. You don't have 100 years. You might not have tomorrow. So why are you holding back? Why are you worried about judgment? Why are you saving your energy? What are you saving it for? The grave. Empty the tank. Leave it all on the field. When you lay your head down on the pillow on December 31st, 2026, I want you to be exhausted. Not the exhaustion of stress and worry, but the good exhaustion. The exhaustion of a runner who just sprinted the final lap. The exhaustion of a fighter who went 12 rounds and won. I want you to look in the mirror and see a stranger, a stronger, wiser, harder version of yourself. I want you to look at your bank account and see abundance. I want you to look at your family and see pride in their eyes. But it starts with one decision. The decision to force yourself out of bed, to force yourself to put down the phone, to force yourself to do the work when nobody is watching. You have the potential to be a force of nature. You have the seeds of greatness in your pocket, but you have to plant them. You have to water them with discipline. You have to protect them from the weeds of distraction. The world is looking for leaders. It is starving for them. It is looking for someone to stand up and say, follow me. I know the way. Be that person. Become the captain of your soul. Become the master of your fate. 2026 is not just another year. It is the year. The year you stopped talking and started doing. The year you stopped wishing and started working. The year you stopped being a victim and became a victor. The door is open. The path is clear. The only thing standing in your way is you. Move out of your own way. Take a deep breath, clench your fists, and make a promise to yourself right now. I will not be stopped. I will not yield. Unstoppable. Now, go get it.